Hello everyone, this is Emo Tempest, and today I'm going to try something a little different. I want to show you a title series deck that I made for, the title series tournament that we had at Boston. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to play it because I was still doing the main event, the Crystal Cup. But Chris Adams, one of the RVA returners, was nice enough to borrow my deck and play it for me over there. He did pretty good. He went, I think it was a 5-round thing, so he only went 2-3. He said it took him a little while to adjust to the deck. It's especially when you're playing a new format, I can understand that. Especially since it's you're playing someone else's deck in a different format. It's hard to get used to it, but I understand. So with that being said, this is the Final Fantasy Tactics title series deck. And for those who don't know, the title series deck pretty much means you have to play every card in the deck has to be from the exact same game. That includes forwards, backups, and summons, monsters, anything, all from the same game. And I know sometimes that could seem a little unfair because some of the games don't have specific backups or specific summons, but every deck can do that, and they do have their pros and cons. Like some will have better forward or backup effects, and in this case, I picked Tactics because it has forwards and backups with really good effects, and it has a lot of summons, and I even have a monster. And I'll go into those with you in just a sec. But like I was saying, the main thing is that you play all the cards from the same game. And I love the Tactics game. I'm sure a lot of people do too. It's actually many of your favorite, or at least a lot of the people that I've met at local events and the events I travel to. They tell me, yeah, I love Tactics, and they always try to squeeze them in because of the cards. And I think the title series, well, at least the way the title series is proposed, is that it's good for new players and players that only want to play the characters from their favorite game. And I don't know if when you guys meet other people you ask that, but I really like to know what is everyone's favorite game when I'm playing it. What favorite Final Fantasy game they like that brought them to this game, to the card game altogether. And for me it's 8, and Tactics is a close second. And I find that a lot of people tell me Tactics altogether as their favorite, and I can understand why. The game is so immersive and wonderful and has so many different characters you guys can, follow along with and grow with in your team. Especially since you can use more than just like 4 or 3 people in your party as some of the other Final Fantasies. But, going into that, let's just go into the deck. And I'll share, by the way, I'm going to leave the description in the titles for the title series rules format in the description, so if you guys want to check it out and you can see how it works pretty much. So let's get into the deck. For the forwards, it's kind of a tricolor deck. Remember, when you're generating CP, it's different in this format. You can use any card to generate any color CP. The only thing that requires a specific color CP is special effects. So anything with double lightning or double water or anything like that, it's very specific. You need the exact color. What's cool about this deck is that all the effects require CP value. Most of the effects require any color CP. So, like for example, the 3-cost Ramza, which I'd like to think is one of the main cards to this deck. He requires 3 CP, and he can give a forward first strike and haste plus 1,000. So it's kind of like a Belias effect. So. Getting into the forwards, have double Orlandu. The Orlandu's there just for a big body and help pop any damage forward. We're playing triple of the new Ramza. The idea is to get a lot of these forwards on board because you do have 2 costs and 3 costs, and between the buffs and everything, you're kind of gonna keep them alive. You should be able to keep most of them alive, especially with the summons and stuff like that. So Ramza will be a big threat. Playing him at 3. Honestly, if you don't get there, you feel free to pitch him as you go. He is like I want to say kind of like a win condition to help you break stuff, and he does get really strong. But if you just can't get to the 10k or whatever, you probably won't waste your time summoning him. Like, he is good. He is here to push those games further. But the real important card in this deck is the 3-cost Ramza. Now he gets 1k buff for every Final Fantasy Tactics forward on the board, which is everyone, and he can pick any other Final Fantasy character, any Final Fantasy Tactics character, and give them the Belias buff. So he's pretty much going to be also 8k, 9k, whatever. He's always getting stronger. It's kind of like a Titus here for every forward. We also have the 5-cost Agrius. She's EX burst also to search. So by the way, the total we have 21 forwards in this, and she's there to help you search the backups, the knights backup. They are all of these are also knights, except Orlando. He's a sword saint. But other than that, you will be able to search everyone else in this deck. All the main, all your main forwards, both Ramses, both Delitas, and either Agrias. You also have the 5-cost Delita, which is also just another big body that's really annoying to deal with, but he's great. And I did add the 3-cost Delita. Now, remember, a lot of these forwards are going to be really strong. You will have them at least plus 1k, so, both of these Delitas are going to be at 10k. One is going to give you a hard time to target, and this one has the ability to break any forward blocking him. So, again, it's a nice ability, so... and then we have the mimes. I added the mimes because they can switch job. They can switch out. This one, the 2-cost mime can switch elements to party up and help you draw a card, and that's going to be helpful as you go. And then I picked the other mime because the real thing with him is that he's going to get stronger than your opponent. Let's say your opponent is kind of relying on one forward. You can copy, that forward's a power. And then with the Knight's buff or with any other buff you have, you can definitely power it up. So he's really good to use. Also, he's just, going to help you build up bodies for Ramza and, your other effects. And then I put in, it's hard to see it there, but it is triple Agrias of the 2-cost Agrias. She has a special ability. It says choose a 3-cost forward and break it. I put that in there because I am playing the extra Agrias so I can pretty much get rid of any between Agrias and the 6-cost Ramza. We're going to be breaking a lot of 3-cost forwards, and a good average of forwards in most decks. Maybe not necessarily the title series because you have the option to play anything from like all the ones in the same game, but breaking the 3-cost is going to be good. So that's why I have both of these in here. Now the backups do, there's a little variety here also, but so you do have the 5-cost Mustadio, also in the EX burst. When Mustadio comes into the field, choose a dull forward and break it. It is a 5-cost, but if it is hit off the EX burst, any of your opponent's attacking forwards or that have forwards that have attacked, well, you can choose one of them to break. The thing is, I know I only put 2 in here, but sometimes you do want to get it off the EX burst. But if you do end up drawing both, the Delita, a 3-cost Delita helps you play, you can play one and then summon it, break it, and then play another one. So there is that option. Same thing with the Duke Large. I do have 2. I am only playing 2 of them. But, Delita can always make space for the second one if it needs to. And now the smaller 2-cost, see, this is what I meant by having that, good backups with different effects. So we do have Mystic, just to tap him, and you can put him to the break zone, choose a forward, it loses 1,000 CP, it loses 100 power, 1,000 power until the end of the turn. And that's just a good way to, get over forwards if they're kind of like giving you trouble. But you do have Avelia, the Job Knight forwards you control gain 1,000 power. And that's pretty much going to give it to everyone, like I mentioned before. And then you have Duke, you can search any knight in the deck. So your Ramses, Delitas, or Agrias. And then the 2-cost Ninja for 2 lightning. See, both of these, Black Mage and Ninja are the effects that I was talking about. It requires 2 lightning CP. Now, these are the effects in the deck that you're going to have the 2 lightning for. Now, obviously, you can pitch any other copy of Ninja or any other copy of Black Mage or Summoner here, Duke, anything extra, just to activate these effects. Or if you have the backups, obviously, like let's say you end up putting Ninja, Black Mage, and Summoner on the board, you can, tap the other 2 for one of these effects. But choose a forward, deal it 2,000. The reason I have this in here, obviously just because it's a tactics backup, and I think it's one of the better tactics backup. But you do have Orlando, and if you can deal the 2k damage, you can bring out Orlando and it will break something as well. I also have it for this Black Mage. Put Black Mage into the break zone, choose damage forward and break it. So I guess the main idea, I don't know if you guys are seeing the pattern, but the main idea behind this is, I'll have these big bodies, but I'm also going to be breaking all of your forwards one way or another. With the Agrias I'll be getting rid of the 3-star, Ramza, also your 3-cost. And then these will let me Orlando and Black Mage will give me the option to break the rest of them, and Mustadio will break your Dole forwards if I get that chance. And I added 2 Summoner just because it is tactics. There is the other rule is that you can have any of the 1 CP cost backups in all of these decks just to fill the space, because they realized that a lot of those the titles, the title series games don't have specific, like, even the 2 cost backup or the 1 cost backups, and they have really like heavy backups. So they gave that option to everyone. But just to keep it tactics for myself, I added the 2 cost, the 1 cost summoners. But yeah, these are the backups. Pretty simple. Again, they all do something very important for the deck. You always want to get the Avelia. Remember, the 5 cost Agrius does search it on deployment or summon or whatever, and or in the EX bursts when you get that off. But it's just another way to help thin out the deck too if it does get popped, or search you the card if you don't have it. Now the summons are pretty straightforward. They're all EX bursts. That puts this deck at a total of 14 EX bursts. Yeah, so we do have 10 summons and 1 monster here, but they're pretty self-explanatory, and again, like I said, straightforward. Triple Leviathan, choose a forward, bound, return to its owner's hand. Double Fairy, choose a forward, activated, draw a card. 2 Odin, choose a forward, break it. And Triple Cyclops, all forwards your opponent controls, lose 3,000 power until the end of the turn. Now, again, the reason I picked Final Fantasy Tactics was because it has some of what I consider the better and more used summons in the actual game altogether. For anyone playing water, any water variant, you're always going to play Leviathan because it's just such a good card, especially when it gets hit on the EX burst. Fairy's a little more defensive as well. When your opponent attacks, you can choose to activate something, or if it does get hit off the EX burst, you can bring back something to the active state and help you defend. And I know everyone loves getting Odin off the top for an EX burst and breaking a forward, so I had to put those in there. And Triple Cyclops also to help you, overpower anything, or let your opponent fall for your trap. It also prevents your opponent from continuing to attack if it's hit off the EX burst. And I did just put 1 dragon in there. I didn't want to play Triple Odin, and they call dragon a pocket, a pocket 4 cost Odin, but. Yeah, so the dragon you can break a monster if your opponent has any monsters, but it also helps you get rid of a forward, 4 cost forward. 4 cost or less forward, and it does require 1 lightning and 1, colorless. So that's why I put it. Again, they're all EX bursts. Again, that's 14 total EX bursts in this deck. And yeah, that's pretty much how I went about building this deck. I knew this deck, the Final Fantasy Tactics, had great summons, great forwards and great backups, and I just said, there's got to be a way to put it together. There's also it has what's it called? They call it banners, I guess, banner aura, and it gives all my knights plus 1k buff. So in my head, it had everything a regular deck needs. And so I just put it together. I was really hoping to play this myself. I did do some practice matches with it just before the tournament, before the event, and also waiting for the event to start. But I would have liked to do title series deck tournament. Honestly, I might do one here on the channel. Not necessarily a tournament, but I do want to have like title series format duels. Let me know if that's something you guys are interested in. Just leave it in the comments below that you would like to see that, and what decks you'd like to see me put together from which game. And as much as I'd love to build a Final Fantasy VIII deck, it does lack basic summons and basic backups. It does have a searcher, but most decks do anyway. But yeah, guys, thank you for stopping by. I will catch you next time. I hope you like this title series deck. Feel free to try it out, change the numbers around, do whatever you want to it. There are other tactic versions of this you can play, but I chose what I thought was fun and definitely wanted to play the characters that I like the most. And with that, I will catch you guys next time.